While fighting raged through the Dolomite peaks, bloody battles were fought on the Slovenian-Italian border as well.
Avanti Alpini!
Avanti! Vai!
When Italy entered the war alongside the Entente powers in 1915, the goal set by the Italian High Command was clearly defined. They were to break beyond the Alps into the plains of Austria-Hungary and seize Ljubljana or even Vienna if they could. The Italian generals, however, were unable to exploit the initial weaknesses of the Austrian army. The intended lightning invasion of Austria soon turned into a long, drawn-out trench war of ill-equipped troops against an enemy firmly entrenched in impregnable positions.
In Isonzo, the main Italian front, the Austrians adopted the same tactics that they had deployed in the Dolomites. The Austrian positions were located on the east bank of the Isonzo, and to increase their advantage they occupied a location overlooking the river that became a natural barrier and stronghold. The Austrians were left on only two bridgeheads on the Italian Socia side. Those bridgeheads were at Gorizia and Tolmino.
Every movement of the Italian troops was observed by the Austrian artillery, who were well positioned in bunkers in the hills east of Gorizia and on the rocky Sabotino Massif. This was known as the Gorizia Threshold. On the eastern side, they had built cave shelters and warehouses. Several crossings in the mountains allowed troops to move along sheltered passages, which protected them from enemy fire. They built a magnificent defensive system along and around the Sabotino Ridge. The Italians were poorly organized in the battles of June 1915, and that summer, strategic mistakes caused Italian troops to suffer heavy casualties while trying to take the impregnable Sabotino.
The bridgehead of Gorizia was divided into three main positions: the Monte San Michele in the south, the ridge of Podgora, the valley of Ovslavia in the center, and the natural fortress of the Sabotino north. When the Archduke Joseph visited the front of the Sabotino, he told his trusted officials that he believed the Sabotino to be impregnable.
Taking Mount Sabotino was crucial to breaking through the Austrian line, and the Italians suffered failure after failure in 1915. The Austrians took advantage of Mount Sabotino as a natural fortress, safe in the knowledge that their defences could not be broken through as long as they held the strategic mountain. On the other hand, the Italians began preparing shelters all around the mountain for attacking troops, squeezing the Austrian stronghold from below and building a road to approach the peak.
The siege of Mount Sabotino was supported by a powerful artillery weapon called the bombarda. These weapons were modeled on old methods and were positioned close to the front of the lines of troops. The troops using them knew exactly where to point the weapons so they could break through both the fort walls and barbed wire.
The capture of Gorizia was a turning point in the war for the Italians. From August 1916 to September 1917, the Italian army launched 5 more powerful offensives on the Isonzo front, pushing back the Austro-Hungarian troops, who had been weakened by actions on the Romanian front of the war. But when Russia was plunged into revolution and signed an armistice with Germany, Austrian and German units were diverted from the Eastern Front back to the Italian front. The Italian defences finally collapsed in November 1917, in what will be remembered in the history books as the bloody, brutal defeat of Caporetto.